The hum of quiet anticipation filled the chamber as the alien leaders assembled around the sleek, blackened table. The war room was an imposing structure, suspended in the heart of the Dysterian command station, a marvel of alien engineering that could house entire fleets with ease above them. Holographic maps of galaxies swirled in ever-changing patterns, displaying the vast expanse of space and the shifting borders of the known universe. Each map shimmered with light, indicating the locations of military strongholds, interstellar trade routes, and, more importantly, conflict zones where the delicate balance of power was being tested every day. The Council was a conglomeration of some of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. There were the Zealer Dominion, a race known for their cold precision in battle and absolute efficiency in every aspect of life. Their representatives sat with a kind of rigidness that seemed almost unnatural, as though their bodies were trained to avoid even the smallest hint of emotion. Their pale, scale-covered skin gave off a muted glow as they sat, watching every movement in the room with the detached scrutiny of seasoned tacticians beside them. The towering figures of the Darvan Empire, with their dark, battle-worn armor, sat in quiet observation, their jagged mandibles twitching in barely contained irritation. These beings were renowned for their ruthlessness and sheer brutality in battle, an empire built on the art of war. Their presence alone seemed to cast a shadow over the others. Next to the Darvan, there were the Carry, whose long, translucent limbs shifted with a subtle, almost ethereal glow. Their alien skin, so delicate and fragile-looking, belied the strength within. They were a species known for their diplomatic efforts, standing as mediators in the galaxy's many conflicts, working tirelessly to maintain peace. Yet their presence now felt uneasy. The quiet buzz of nervous tension that rippled across their group betrayed an unspoken fear. At the far end of the room, there were the lesser-known but equally dangerous species, beings of all shapes, sizes, and varying degrees of intelligence, but all with one common trait: a deep suspicion of humanity. The door slid open with a soft hiss, and one of the council members, a seasoned veteran of the Zealer Dominion, entered. He was an older officer, his once vibrant green scales now dulled with age and battle. His posture was still strong, though, standing as a testament to a life spent at the forefront of countless conflicts. He took his place at the table, his eyes scanning the assembly before him. The silence in the room grew more palpable, as if every member was awaiting something significant. The old warrior stood tall, his claws tapping lightly against the polished surface of the table as he spoke, his voice steady, yet filled with a weight that carried decades of war and sacrifice. "They eat their own dead." The words slipped from his lips, each one sharp and deliberate, as if punctuating the heavy silence that had taken root in the chamber. The effect was immediate and profound. It was as though the very air had thickened with disbelief. Several of the council members exchanged uneasy glances, and a low murmur ran through the assembly. The Carry ambassador, in particular, looked as though he might have recoiled had he not been so composed. His pale, translucent skin seemed to ripple nervously as the statement lingered in the air. "Are you certain?" The voice came from the Darvan warlord, who spoke not with suspicion, but with a sense of both challenge and curiosity. The Darvan were no strangers to brutality, blood and violence were their language, but the suggestion that a species could turn to such desperate measures as eating their fallen was something that even they could not fathom. The Zealer veteran's eyes narrowed, and he repeated, with greater emphasis, "I saw it myself. They were cut off, wounded, starving, and yet they fought on. They tore food from their fallen comrades, kept going, doing whatever it took to stay alive. There was no hesitation, no second thoughts. The human soldiers, driven by nothing but survival, did what was necessary." As he spoke, the gravity of the words settled over the council like a heavy fog. The entire room seemed to pause, each representative lost in thought, digesting the unsettling information. How could a species be so committed to survival that it would defy the natural order, resorting to something as brutal and unthinkable as cannibalism? And yet, in the eyes of the Zealer, it was not a sign of weakness but a confirmation of human resilience. The council of alien leaders had come together with a singular question on their minds: what made humanity so deadly? What made them different from every other species that had risen and fallen in the history of the galaxy? Just as the silence threatened to become unbearable, the Carry ambassador's voice cut through the murmurs, trembling slightly as he spoke. That is horrific. Are you certain?" The words felt forced, as though he was struggling to come to terms with what he had just heard. The Carry, after all, prided themselves on understanding peace and diplomacy. The concept of eating the dead was something so alien to them, it shook their very core beliefs. The Zealer officer, undeterred by the reaction, continued, his voice steady and cold, "You want to know why humans are so dangerous?" He leaned forward, his dark eyes locking onto the council members one by one, because survival is all they know when they're pushed to the brink. They don't falter, they don't collapse, they find a way to push forward, no matter the cost. When others would break, they endure. There was a moment of collective silence as the weight of his words sank and the Darvan warlord shifted in his seat, his massive form creaking with the subtle shift of movement. The Carey ambassador's unease seemed to deepen, his body twitching in a way that betrayed his struggle to process this new information. These were not simply soldiers fighting for glory or conquest. These were warriors fighting because they had no other choice. The Carey ambassador, ever the diplomat, found his voice once again, though it was soft and hesitant. But to eat the dead? How could they? His words trailed off, his confusion palpable. Before the room could spiral into further murmurs of disbelief, another voice broke through, this time calm and steady. "You misunderstand," came the reply, cutting through the growing tension. It was a human voice, Captain Elias Grant of the Tan Vanguard. He was the only human present in the chamber, standing with a quiet confidence that only came from years of battlefield experience. His deep blue uniform, with its simple yet functional design, set him apart from the others, yet his stance held an air of authority. His expression, unreadable as always, remained calm despite the storm of uncertainty swirling around him. Grant stepped forward, his piercing eyes sweeping across the room, assessing each alien leader with the unflinching gaze of a man who had seen the worst of war and lived to tell the tale. His presence demanded attention without needing to raise his voice. "We don't eat our dead," Grant stated, his tone carrying the weight of truth. His words hung in the air, stark and clear, dispelling the myth with the force of a single statement. There was a pause, a moment where even the seasoned warriors in the room processed what had just been said. Grant continued, unfazed by the attention. "What you witnessed," he explained, "was the survival instinct of humans. What you saw was not desperation, it was a bond, something more than the fight to stay alive." His voice softened as he spoke, choosing each word with care. "Humans don't fight to win. We fight to survive, to endure, to protect what we love. When we are pushed beyond the brink, we adapt. That's why we are dangerous, because no matter what happens, we will find a way to keep going." For a moment, the council fell silent, each member grappling with the implications of Grant's words. They had seen humanity's rise in the galaxy, watched as humans carved out their place among the stars, but they had never truly understood why humanity was so dangerous. They had assumed it was due to their weapons, their technology, their strategic brilliance. But now, they were confronted with something far more terrifying. Humans were not a species defined by victory or honor, they were defined by their refusal to break. Grant's voice grew even more resolute as he spoke. "What you saw was a group of soldiers who lost everything, no reinforcements, no supplies, no hope, yet they carried on, because those who fell before them gave them a reason to keep fighting. The memory of their sacrifice became fuel for the living. We don't just mourn the dead, we carry them with us, and when we lose, we don't break, we become something worse, we become something relentless." There was a shift in the room as these words landed. The Carey ambassador's unease had morphed into a quiet understanding. The Darvan warlord, who had seen countless battles, narrowed his eyes as though he was beginning to grasp the depth of Grant's words. Even the stoic Zealer officer seemed to shift slightly in his seat, as if he was rethinking his stance on humanity. The silence stretched long, as the alien leaders processed what had just been revealed about humanity. Finally, the Darvan warlord, his voice deep and gravelly, spoke up. "This is what makes you different." His words, though simple, carried a weight of respect. The truth of what Grant had said had sunk in. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Grant met his gaze and nodded once, his face remaining impassive. "Exactly," he replied, his tone never wavering, "that is why we survive." And with that, the council members fell into a thoughtful silence, each one contemplating the revelation that humanity was a force unlike anything they had ever encountered, a species not defined by its weapons, its strength, or its strategy, but by its ability to endure, and its refusal to be defeated, no matter the cost. The room was still. The weight of the Darvan warlord's words hung in the air like a deep, reverberating echo. The council, a powerful assembly of beings who had seen the rise and fall of countless species, had just come face to face with a terrifying truth about humanity. And yet, despite the tension and the discomfort that rippled through the gathering, there was a quiet sense of acknowledgement, respect. It was not something easily earned, especially among such hardened species who had spent millennia dominating the stars. And yet, in that moment, as the Darvan warlord spoke, a shift occurred. The warlord, whose towering form filled much of the chamber, exuded a primal energy. His thick, battle-worn armor glinted faintly in the dim light of the war room, bearing the scars of hundreds, if not thousands, of battles. The Darvan were not a species to be trifled with. They had carved a name for themselves across the galaxy as ruthless conquerors and masters of warfare. Their tactics were brutal, their strategy savage, and their reputation inescapable. But there was something in Grant's words, something profound, that caused the Darvan warlord to pause. For a moment, the warlord seemed almost hesitant. The thick, musky scent of his species' pheromones hung in the air as he shifted in his seat, his claws clicking against the table with an almost rhythmic precision. His dark, obsidian eyes that had witnessed the destruction of entire civilizations, narrowed as he processed the gravity of the situation. "Humans," the Darvan warlord said again, this time with a quieter, more thoughtful tone, "you do not fight for conquest, you do not fight for territory, honor, or glory. No, you fight for something deeper, something we cannot easily understand." His voice rumbled through the room like a distant thunderclap, carrying with it both awe and a touch of curiosity. Captain Elias Grant, standing near the center of the room, met the warlord's gaze with an unwavering calm. There was no arrogance in his posture, no hint of pride, just a quiet acknowledgement that what had been said was the truth. He had lived through it, he had seen it with his own eyes, and now, it was his turn to explain it to the alien leaders who had gathered in this room, each one trying to piece together the puzzle that was humanity. "What you saw," Grant began, his voice steady, "was not just soldiers trying to survive. It was soldiers trying to honor the sacrifices of those who fell before them. It was the determination to protect what we love. We don't just fight because we have to, we fight because we have something to fight for." The Darvan warlord tilted his head slightly, his massive mandibles twitching as though deep in thought. The words had clearly struck a chord within him. The concept of fighting for something beyond oneself, something deeper, something personal, was foreign to his species. The Darvan were a species driven by the need to dominate, to conquer, to expand. To them, war was simply a means to an end. But humanity fought because it had something worth preserving, something sacred. "Tell me, Captain Grant," the warlord rumbled, his voice softening, "how do your people handle loss?" Grant's eyes flicked toward the floor for a moment, the weight of the question settling over him. The thought of loss was not something that could be easily answered. It was not a question with a simple, one-word response. Loss was a part of humanity's fabric, woven into the very essence of their existence. Every human who had ever fought, every soldier who had ever been in a battle, knew that loss was inevitable, and yet, it was how they dealt with that loss that set them apart. "We mourn," Grant said after a moment, lifting his eyes back to meet the warlord's piercing gaze, "but we don't just mourn. We carry the memory of those who fell with us. We carry their dreams, their hopes, their spirit. It's what drives us forward. It's why we don't break, because every person who falls becomes a part of us. Their will, their determination, their fight, it lives on in us." A low murmur spread through the council. The Carey ambassador, whose translucent skin shimmered in the dim light, was the first to speak. His voice was barely a whisper, as if he was speaking to himself more than to anyone else. "You make the dead part of you," he said, his words tinged with a quiet reverence. "You carry them with you, even after they are gone." Grant nodded, a somber yet resolute expression crossing his face. "Exactly," he said, "and that is what makes humanity so dangerous. We don't just avenge our dead, we honor them. We carry their memory, their fight, and their will. And when you kill one of us, you don't just kill a soldier, you create 100 more, each one rising with the weight of that loss on their shoulders." The room fell silent again, the alien leaders lost in thought. They had all fought wars, they had all experienced loss, but what Grant described was unlike anything they had ever known. The concept of carrying the dead with them, of turning loss into something more than just a painful memory, was a notion that defied their understanding. The Darvan warlord, whose people thrived on vengeance, could not help but acknowledge the depth of humanity's resolve. It was different, it was powerful, and it made them all the more dangerous. "You do not avenge your dead," the Darvan warlord said, almost as a statement rather than a question. "You carry them, you become them." Grant's eyes met his once again, and for a moment, the warlord saw something that was both ancient and fierce in the human's gaze. "Yes," Grant replied, "that's what makes us dangerous. We become our dead, and we become something relentless because of it." There was no denying it now. The truth about humanity had been laid bare before the council. They were not a species defined by their weapons or their technology, but by their unyielding determination to survive, to endure, and to protect what they loved. They fought not for conquest or glory, but for something far deeper, the preservation of their values, their memories, and their people. And in that moment, a realization washed over the council members. They had underestimated humanity. They had viewed humans as just another species to be dealt with, just another obstacle in their pursuit of power. But now, they saw something different. They saw a species that would never be defeated, no matter how many battles they lost or how much they suffered. Humanity was a force that could not be stopped, not by weapons, not by strategy, and certainly not by anything that the other species had to offer. The silence that followed was heavy. It was a silence that was not born of discomfort, but of deep respect, and as the council members looked around at one another, they knew that they had just learned something they would never forget. Humanity was a force unlike any other, and whether they liked it or not, they would have to reckon with it. The Carey ambassador, his voice barely audible, spoke again, this time with a sense of awe. "You make the dead part of you," he repeated the words, his eyes meeting Grant's with a kind of solemn understanding. That is something we have never encountered before." Grant didn't reply. He didn't need to. The message had been delivered, and in that moment, every member of the council knew that humanity was a species to be reckoned with. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, nor the most advanced, but they were relentless. They were survivors. And that was what made them so deadly. In the wake of the powerful exchange that took place in the council chamber, the focus of the story shifts dramatically to the immediate tension outside the room. The deep contemplation that had swept through the council, following Captain Elias Grant's powerful testimony, is abruptly interrupted by the sudden arrival of a young officer. Breathless with urgency, the unspoken respect between the Darvan warlord and Grant, as well as the shifted understanding within the council, now seems distant, replaced by the grim reality of an incoming threat. The tone of the story shifts from introspective philosophical discussions to the immediate threat of conflict, and the audience is plunged into a tense atmosphere as the war room prepares for action. It is in this part of the story that the true measure of humanity's resolve, as well as the collaborative power of the species present, will be tested. The sudden arrival of the officer with the news of an unknown fleet adds a layer of complexity to the narrative, introducing an entirely new challenge for humanity and its allies. This marks the transition from a conversation about the human spirit and its indomitable will to survive, to the application of that spirit in real-time combat scenarios. The young officer, panicked but composed in his way, bursts into the war room and reports the arrival of an enemy fleet. Their origin is unknown, but their intent becomes immediately clear. They are not here to talk. This is not a diplomatic mission, nor is it a peaceful encounter. The aliens are coming to battle. The looming question of whether humanity and its allies will be able to withstand this new threat hangs in the air, and with it, the weight of Grant's earlier words about survival and determination. This moment reveals the true test of what was discussed. Now that humanity has been recognized for its strength and tenacity, how will it apply this reputation when faced with an external, unknown force? Grant's reaction to the officer's announcement reveals a critical aspect of his leadership and the human character in general: urgency and confidence. Even in the face of overwhelming uncertainty, Captain Grant doesn't hesitate. There is no moment of doubt or fear as the officer speaks. Grant's response is immediate. He turns on his heel, his voice calm but commanding, already issuing orders. The narrative structure here moves quickly, mirroring the speed at which decisions are made in a war room environment, where every second counts. Grant exemplifies the core principle of human leadership and strength, being able to think on one's feet under pressure, adapt, and act decisively. The fact that Grant is ready for action at a moment's notice further underlines the theme of preparedness, humanity's drive to endure and fight in the face of overwhelming odds. He doesn't second-guess the situation. Instead, he focuses on what needs to be done. The fleet's nature, unknown and dangerous, adds a layer of suspense. As there is no certainty of what these alien ships bring to the table, they are more than just another opponent. They are an entirely new unknown. This uncertainty, paired with Grant's determination, drives the plot forward, propelling both him and the audience into the next phase of the story: conflict. The shift from the quiet reverence of the council to the intensity of the impending battle brings an immediate contrast. The war room is suddenly filled with frenetic energy. Officers, technicians, and strategic minds move swiftly to analyze the incoming threat. Holographic displays light up the room, providing data on the alien ships. These ships are unlike anything that humanity or its allies have encountered before. The ship's sleek and angular design suggests an advanced technology, something far beyond humanity's own weapons and spacecraft. This revelation introduces a new kind of tension. It's no longer a simple fight of survival. It's a matter of facing an adversary that is technologically superior, one whose capabilities are unknown and potentially deadly. The Carey ambassador, who had previously shown awe and respect for humanity's fighting spirit, now expresses a sense of dread and uncertainty. His nervousness about the fleet's unfamiliar technology contrasts with the confidence that Grant continues to project. The Carey's shifting translucent skin indicates discomfort, a visual sign of their internal anxiety about the unknown enemy, unlike Grant, who has faced numerous adversaries and whose mind is focused on tactical solutions. The other species in the room, especially the Carry, are much more cautious. This underscores the idea that humanity, while lacking in advanced technology, has the ingenuity and adaptability that allow it to face even the unknown with an unshakable resolve. Grant's response to the Carry ambassador's concerns is blunt, yet decisive. "We're about to learn something new." The tone of this statement carries with it the weight of humanity's survival instinct. There is no fear in Grant's voice. It's a declaration that the unknown is simply another challenge to overcome, and that humanity will find a way to adapt. This encapsulates the message of the story. Humanity's greatest strength lies not in its weapons or its technology, but in its adaptability and resilience. As the strategic analysis of the incoming fleet continues, a tactical lieutenant, young but sharp, steps up to provide an assessment of the situation. The sheer scale of the threat is immediately apparent. The alien fleet outnumbers humanity's forces 3-1. The officers are scrambling to make sense of the enemy's unknown energy signatures, which suggest technology far beyond what humanity has seen. This uncertainty only amplifies the already intense atmosphere. There are no visible fighter bays, no telltale signs of traditional weapons. The shields, it seems, are adaptive, further complicating the situation. Yet, despite the odds, there is a certain sense of calm in the room. The Darvan warlord, who has spent his life engaged in brutal wars and leading his people to dominance, is far from intimidated by the numbers. His voice rumbles through the room as he comments on the enemy fleet's composition. 3-1 odds, he says, sounding almost amused. "I expected worse." The warlord's words serve two important functions in this part of the narrative. First, they emphasize the Darvan's long history of domination and their familiarity with warfare. Regardless of the odds, the Darvan are veterans of countless battles, and even the prospect of facing a fleet superior in number does not faze them. Second, the warlord's casual tone contrasts sharply with the underlying tension felt by the other species in the room, particularly the Carry ambassador. This difference in reaction further highlights the uniqueness of humanity's response to battle. The Darvan, though experienced in war, approach the situation with a warrior's mindset, an acknowledgement of the challenge and the battle to come, but without fear. This dynamic shift, where the Darvan express more confidence than the other species, serves to illustrate the immense gravity of the situation. It is one thing to face an unknown enemy, but it is entirely another to face that enemy knowing that you are outnumbered and outgunned. However, as the tension builds, the focus of the scene remains on Grant. His leadership is not one of fear or panic, but of methodical strategy and calm confidence. He remains unfazed by the unknowns of the incoming fleet, an embodiment of humanity's strength, the ability to adapt, to analyze, and to overcome. The council members watch as Grant surveys the situation, their thoughts likely filled with doubt and fear. But humanity, represented by Grant's unwavering resolve, offers something different. Where the other species may have hesitated, humanity presses forward, ready to face whatever comes next. The focus then shifts to the next steps. Grant orders a tactical analysis, asking for more information about the fleet's structure and its technological capabilities. There is no hesitation. He is already thinking of countermeasures, of ways to neutralize the enemy and to protect humanity's interests. It is this constant readiness, this ability to act in the face of uncertainty, that defines humanity's survival instinct. This section deepens the stakes for humanity, building on the Council's recognition of human resolve while introducing an entirely new challenge, an unknown alien fleet. The contrast between the calm confidence of Grant and the anxiety of the other species illustrates humanity's adaptability and determination in the face of the unknown. As the story progresses, this conflict will be a direct test of humanity's survival instincts, pushing them to rely on their wits and ingenuity. The stakes continue to rise, and the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. As the war room fills with tension and the alien fleet draws ever closer, the focus turns from the philosophical reflections on humanity's resilience to the practical application of that resilience in the form of strategic planning. The calm and decisive leadership that Captain Elias Grant has exhibited thus far begins to shine even brighter in the face of this new, immediate threat. His confidence, once largely theoretical, is now put to the test. He stands as the central figure around which all hope for survival revolves. This part of the story marks a significant shift in the narrative. The Council, which was previously engaged in deep philosophical discussions about humanity's fighting spirit and survival instinct, now has to face the cold reality of the battlefield. The stakes have been raised, and the impending alien fleet threatens everything the Alliance has fought for. As the discussion turns toward the tactical response, The true weight of Grant's earlier statements comes into focus: humanity does not simply fight to win, it fights to survive. The difference here is crucial. The alien fleet may be superior in numbers and technology, but humanity's resilience, adaptability, and survival instincts are not bound by the same constraints. The war room is filled with the hushed sounds of officers and tactical experts analyzing data, inputting numbers, and working feverishly to devise a plan of action. The first piece of information that is presented is the sheer scale of the threat. The alien fleet outnumbers humanity's forces by 3-1. This sets the tone for the tension that is felt in the room. The officers are not dealing with a standard engagement. They are facing overwhelming odds. Even the Darvan warlord, whose species is known for their brutal combat prowess, cannot deny the stark reality: the numbers are not in their favor. The alien fleet's advanced technology only complicates the situation further, leaving the crew to scramble for answers. However, it's not just the size and technology of the enemy that pose a threat. The unknown nature of the alien fleet raises an even more critical question: what is their intent? Unlike typical adversaries, these ships do not seem interested in communication or diplomacy. They are arriving with weapons charged, and their intentions are as unclear as their origins. The knowledge that humanity is facing an enemy with unknown motives adds a sense of urgency to the atmosphere in the war room. It's not just a fight for survival against superior numbers, but also a fight to understand the nature of the threat. This adds layers of complexity to the situation and requires a tactical approach that accounts for both the military and intelligence aspects of warfare. In the midst of this chaos, Captain Grant remains calm. He orders a tactical assessment, demanding a breakdown of the fleet's potential strengths and weaknesses. Despite the overwhelming odds, Grant's mind works methodically to devise a plan that will give humanity a fighting chance. His leadership style is rooted in pragmatism. He understands the gravity of the situation, but he also knows that survival requires an unwavering focus on the task at hand. This is the moment when humanity's resourcefulness will be tested. Grant's ability to remain level-headed in the face of such overwhelming pressure is a reflection of humanity's greatest strength: the ability to adapt and innovate in real time. The lieutenant's report underscores the scale of the challenge. The alien fleet's ships are technologically superior, with energy signatures that suggest weapons far beyond the typical plasma-based systems humanity is used to. The shields, too, are described as adaptive, indicating that the aliens have weapons capable of countering standard attacks. This revelation is a game-changer. Humanity's traditional methods of warfare, honed over centuries, are no longer sufficient. The alien fleet's shields and weaponry present an entirely new type of threat, one that requires more than just brute force or traditional tactics. This is where the creative and adaptive nature of humanity will come into play. The advanced technology of the alien fleet, its unfamiliar weapons, energy signatures, and adaptive shields, sets the stage for what will be a fierce battle of wits. Unlike conventional warfare, where both sides can rely on known tactics and strategies, this fight demands that humanity rely on its ingenuity. Grant knows that they cannot simply overpower the aliens. They must outthink them. This realization shifts the story from a simple action sequence into a high-stakes intellectual battle. It's no longer just about strength, it's about how to turn the alien technology against itself, how to exploit its weaknesses, and how to survive by using unexpected tactics. The Darvan warlord's nonchalant remark, 3-1 odds? I expected worse, serves to underscore his species' experience in battle, but beneath the surface of his casual demeanor is a deep understanding of the challenges ahead. He is not naive. He knows that the odds, though daunting, are not impossible to overcome. His comment serves as a reminder to the Council that war is never straightforward, and the unexpected is always a part of the equation. However, the Darvan's lack of fear does not mean they underestimate the enemy. They understand that intelligence, strategy, and resourcefulness will be just as important as raw strength. This sets the stage for the kind of warfare humanity will need to engage in, fighting with everything they have, not just with their guns and ships, but with their minds. Captain Grant's next decision is to focus on the tactical assessment, pushing his officers to gather more information and analyze the alien fleet's weaknesses. He understands that time is of the essence. The alien fleet is closing in, and every second counts. The room becomes a hive of activity as officers work quickly to compile data and formulate a response. This is where the collective expertise of humanity's military minds comes into play. Grant doesn't simply rely on his own knowledge, he trusts the experts around him, fostering a sense of teamwork and collaboration. This is another hallmark of humanity's strength, the ability to work together in high-pressure situations, pooling knowledge and resources to solve complex problems. The Carey ambassador, who had previously been in awe of humanity's resilience, now expresses his own doubts and concerns. His translucent skin shifts nervously as he voices his fears. His species, though advanced in certain areas, lacks the direct combat experience of humanity, and the Darvon the Carry are pacifists at heart, more focused on diplomacy and negotiation than battle. As a result, the arrival of such a formidable and unknown alien threat stirs feelings of helplessness and dread within him. His anxiety about the alien fleet's capabilities contrasts sharply with Grant's calm composure. The difference in their reactions highlights the fact that while humanity may not always be the most powerful or technologically advanced, it is the one species capable of adapting to any situation. The Carry may have the technology, but humanity has the will. The situation continues to escalate as the alien fleet nears. The officers in the war room continue to work tirelessly, offering their insights and suggestions for how to counter the alien threat. There is no time to waste. Every minute counts. The alien ships may be technologically superior, but humanity has something they do not: a history of overcoming adversity against impossible odds. This is what drives Grant, and this is what will drive humanity to survive this new crisis. The tactical decisions that follow will define the outcome of this engagement. Humanity's survival now depends on its ability to innovate, to outthink the enemy, and to use whatever limited resources it has at its disposal. The alien fleet's advanced technology may seem insurmountable, but humanity's greatest strength lies in its adaptability and determination. Grant knows this, and it is this knowledge that drives him to continue pushing forward, even when faced with a seemingly impossible situation. As the alien fleet continues to approach, the air in the war room is thick with anticipation and a growing sense of dread. The tension is palpable, but within this charged atmosphere, a crucial realization begins to take shape. This battle is unlike anything humanity has faced before. It's no longer just a fight for survival. It's a test of humanity's ability to adapt and think outside the box. This part brings forth a critical turning point in the story, where the true nature of the alien fleet is explored, and humanity must confront its first real glimpse of an enemy that challenges its very understanding of warfare. The first moment of this shift happens when the alien fleet is finally analyzed in greater detail. The officers in the war room have been working tirelessly, examining data, and running simulations, and what they uncover is both fascinating and terrifying. These aliens are not simply advanced in terms of their technology, but their entire approach to combat seems alien to humanity's standard tactics. This realization forces Captain Elias Grant and his team to reconsider everything they thought they knew about warfare. The alien fleet is not simply advanced, it's unpredictable, unlike anything humanity has encountered before. Captain Grant, who has been so focused on the practical, tactical side of the war, now faces the challenge of understanding a completely new type of adversary. The alien fleet's vessels are sleek, silent, and equipped with adaptive shields and energy weapons that humanity's standard defenses are ill-equipped to handle. The fact that they have no visible fighter bays suggests that they might not fight in a traditional sense. This is the first hint that these aliens are not following the expected patterns of warfare that humanity is used to. There is a realization among the crew that their standard strategies are not enough to deal with this new threat. It is in this moment that the complexity of the alien fleet's design is fully realized. Unlike previous enemies humanity has fought, these alien ships are not merely superior in technology, they are flexible, dynamic, and possess an uncanny ability to adapt to every tactic that humanity tries. Their shields adjust in real time to block incoming attacks, rendering standard plasma weaponry ineffective. Their weapons, based on energy signatures far beyond humanity's understanding, can destabilize human technology with terrifying precision. This realization begins to sink in: humanity's traditional methods of fighting are not going to be enough. The adaptive nature of the alien fleet forces humanity to approach this battle from an entirely new angle. It's no longer a battle of technology alone, but one of strategy, innovation, and ingenuity. Humanity cannot simply overpower the alien fleet, it must outthink it. The officers and strategists in the war room now understand that their survival hinges on developing new tactics and adapting quickly to the enemy's ever-changing methods. What follows is a battle of minds as much as it is a battle of might. Captain Grant's leadership becomes more crucial than ever. He understands that the situation is dire, but he remains calm and composed. He is not merely a military officer, he is the embodiment of humanity's collective spirit of resilience and innovation. Throughout this part of the story, Grant is forced to draw on every bit of experience, every piece of knowledge, and every ounce of creativity that he and his team possess. The alien threat is unlike anything they have faced before, but this is where humanity's greatest strengths lie: its ability to adapt, to learn, and to overcome. The alien fleet's behavior begins to become clearer. adding more fuel to the fire of uncertainty. The fact that they do not follow traditional patterns of combat, no fighter craft, no obvious weaknesses, and seemingly no desire for diplomacy, reveals something more about their motivations. Captain Grant's mind races as he considers the possibility that this alien fleet may not be simply another enemy. They might be a different kind of adversary, one driven by something far deeper than conquest or territory. This alien race may be more intelligent, more complex, and more dangerous than anything humanity has ever encountered before. The unknown nature of their motives is both terrifying and intriguing. In this critical moment, the Carey ambassador, who had earlier expressed concern about humanity's resilience, now voices his growing unease. The Carey's pacifist nature had always been their strength, but now they are faced with a threat they cannot immediately understand. They lack the experience of direct warfare that other species, like the Darvan, possess. The Carey ambassador's nervousness is palpable as he ponders the implications of this new kind of enemy. His people, who have thrived on diplomacy, are now finding themselves in uncharted waters. The unknown nature of the alien fleet's motivations only serves to heighten the sense of unease within the Council. Despite the growing anxiety, Grant remains calm. He understands the importance of maintaining a clear head in the face of overwhelming uncertainty. He knows that panic is the enemy's ally, not his. His leadership is what holds the war room together. Even as doubts swirl in the minds of others, it is this ability to stay composed that sets Captain Grant apart. His role is not only to lead humanity's military efforts but to inspire confidence in his allies and bring a sense of purpose to the seemingly impossible situation. A critical moment occurs when the Darvan warlord, a towering figure known for his species' legendary brutality in battle, weighs in. His species has been among the most feared in the galaxy, but even he is uncertain about how to approach this new, unpredictable foe. His species is accustomed to straightforward, brutal combat, but the alien fleet's unconventional tactics leave him at a loss. The Darvan's usual methods of fighting, direct confrontation, overwhelming force, and unyielding revenge, are no longer viable against an enemy that can adapt and counter every move they make. This moment serves as a stark reminder of how the rules of warfare are being rewritten before their very eyes. The Darvan's admission of uncertainty is a crucial turning point in the narrative. The warrior species, who have been battle-tested for centuries, are now standing on equal footing with humanity, grappling with the same challenges and the same fears. This serves to emphasize the scale of the threat. It is not simply humanity's survival that is at risk, but the survival of all the species gathered in the Council. The alien fleet represents a new kind of warfare, one that is not bound by the traditional rules of engagement. This realization forces everyone in the room to reconsider their assumptions about war and strategy. Grant's response to this growing uncertainty is measured, calculated, and ultimately reassuring. He knows that humanity has something that the alien fleet does not: the ability to innovate, adapt, and think on its feet. As the enemy closes in, Grant's words carry the weight of the responsibility he feels, not just for humanity, but for the entire alliance. The situation is grim, but it is not hopeless. If humanity and its allies can think differently, they can still overcome this new enemy. The aliens may have technology, but humanity has something far more dangerous: the will to survive. In this part of the story, the narrative shifts from the analysis of the alien threat to the realization that humanity must confront this enemy not just with its weapons, but with its mind. The true nature of the alien fleet, its unpredictability, adaptability, and the unknown motivations driving it, sets the stage for the conflict to come. The officers in the war room must now work with this new understanding of the enemy, forging a new path forward. This is a battle not just for survival, but for understanding and innovation. It is a battle where humanity's greatest strengths, its adaptability, resilience, and creativity, will be put to the ultimate test. As the tension reaches its peak, the alien fleet looms closer, forcing humanity and their allies to make split-second decisions that will determine the fate of countless lives. Part 6 shifts the story into full combat mode. The war room becomes a hive of activity, where every officer and strategist is on high alert, preparing for the impending conflict. But the true focus of this section is not just on the military engagement, it's on how humanity adapts in the face of an unknown and unpredictable enemy, drawing on all the ingenuity, resilience, and determination that defines their species. As Captain Elias Grant watches the approaching alien fleet on the holographic displays, a sense of urgency hangs in the air. The alien vessels continue their rapid approach, seemingly indifferent to any diplomatic overtures, suggesting that their purpose is not to negotiate or communicate, but to engage. Humanity's military is well prepared, but even the most advanced systems and technologies are now facing a new kind of warfare, one that isn't confined to the rules or expectations humanity had. Come to rely on this moment serves as the beginning of a full-scale battle, but it's not just about survival, it's about proving that humanity can face the impossible and adapt to overcome it. Grant, as a seasoned leader, immediately assesses the situation and starts issuing orders. The priority now is to hold the line long enough to gather more intelligence about the alien fleet's capabilities. The war room is filled with officers who work with precision and speed. The immediacy of the threat sharpens their focus. Captain Grant is calm under pressure, but there's a quiet intensity in his actions. Every decision he makes will affect the outcome of this battle and, potentially, the survival of humanity. As the fleet continues its approach, the Darvan warlord, who had been an onlooker up until now, finally enters the fray with a direct challenge. His species has a reputation for overwhelming force, and he immediately suggests a counterattack. The Darvan are not accustomed to sitting back and waiting, and their natural instinct is to strike first. However, Grant knows that rushing into a direct assault could be a fatal mistake. The alien fleet has shown that it's capable of adapting, and rushing in blindly would only play into their hands. It's clear that humanity needs a new approach, one that plays to its strengths rather than trying to match the alien fleet's overwhelming force. This decision, to wait and observe, is not an easy one, especially with the pressure mounting. Every officer in the room feels the weight of what's at stake. The alien fleet's unknown energy signatures continue to pulse, and it's becoming clear that their weapons have the potential to incapacitate humanity's ships with devastating precision. The adaptive shields of the alien fleet add another layer of complexity to the situation. Humanity's weapons, designed to overpower traditional defenses, are now ineffective against the alien fleet's ability to adjust. This realization sends shockwaves through the command team. It's not just about fighting back with force anymore. Humanity must rethink how it engages. The narrative takes an interesting turn here as Grant decides to act on one of humanity's core strengths, its capacity for improvisation and innovation. As the alien fleet draws nearer, Grant gathers his team and outlines a new strategy. It involves a blend of unconventional tactics, the willingness to sacrifice the usual, safe approach, and the utilization of creative technology to counteract the unknown threats. Grant doesn't have all the answers, but he understands that human ingenuity might be their best weapon. By using resources in new ways, resources that the aliens have likely never encountered, humanity could gain an advantage. This part of the story reveals something essential about humanity's role in the galaxy. Despite their relative youth and technological limitations compared to some species, humans excel at innovation when under pressure. Throughout the war room, officers scramble to adapt the tools and technologies they have to new specifications. It's a race against time as they prepare their ships for the alien onslaught, testing new modifications and adjusting old systems that were never meant to operate under these conditions. The war room is alive with urgency and focus. Engineers work to retrofit existing weapons and shields to counter the alien fleet's unique adaptations. Scientists and tactical officers confer rapidly, using everything from reverse-engineered alien tech to old military strategies that were once thought obsolete. Humanity's tactical advantage here lies not in their technology alone but in their adaptability and their refusal to give up when faced with overwhelming odds. They are quick to learn, quick to adjust, and willing to make bold decisions when others might hesitate. Meanwhile, Captain Grant's leadership continues to shine. He is the anchor around which the entire fleet revolves. His ability to remain composed while simultaneously motivating his officers is essential to keeping the team focused under pressure. He doesn't just issue orders. He listens to the concerns of his officers and collaborates with them. This is what makes him a true leader: his empathy and understanding of what his crew is experiencing, facing a threat that is beyond their knowledge and previous experience, gives them a sense of purpose and cohesion that they desperately need. As the alien fleet nears, the tension in the war room reaches a boiling point. There is a palpable fear, but it's tempered by something else, a burning desire to overcome the odds. Humanity knows it is not the most technologically advanced species in the galaxy, but its ability to adapt, innovate, and survive is unmatched. This attitude is what has kept humanity alive in the face of every challenge it's ever faced, whether it's the small skirmishes between nations or the more significant threats to humanity's survival. Humans always manage to pull through, and this time, the odds may be stacked higher than ever, but there is still hope. The final moments before the battle begin are filled with a tense anticipation. Officers begin to take their stations, the last-minute adjustments to the ships are made, and everyone knows that the outcome of this fight is uncertain. However, there is also a strange sense of pride. This is humanity's chance to prove that it can face any challenge, no matter how impossible it seems. Grant takes one last look at the holographic display. His eyes sharp and focused. He knows that the true test has come. The war room falls into a brief silence as all eyes turn toward the display. In that silence, Captain Grant delivers his final order: prepare for engagement, make them remember who we are. It's a chilling moment, the calm before the storm. The ship's engines hum to life as they take their positions. Humanity has never faced an enemy like this, and yet, they stand united, ready for whatever comes next. The countdown to battle begins as humanity faces the unknown alien fleet head-on. The tension that had been building throughout the previous parts explodes into full-scale combat. This section reveals not only the strength and resilience of humanity but also the creative ways in which they manage to adapt to an opponent unlike anything they've faced before. The conflict is intense, fast-paced, and shows just how far humanity is willing to go to ensure its survival and prove that their spirit cannot be broken. As the human fleet positions itself in the midst of the impending battle, Captain Elias Grant's voice is the steadying force in the storm. The narrative shifts back to the war room, where humanity's command center is bustling with activity. The officers, technicians, and soldiers are all poised and ready despite the threat of annihilation looming over them. There's an undeniable sense of unity and determination. This is a make-or-break moment for humanity, and everyone involved is aware of the stakes. The alien fleet is closing in, but they have yet to launch an attack. The ships move with a fluid precision, as if they are coordinated by some higher intelligence, but they remain eerily silent. The lack of communication further heightens the uncertainty. Are they preparing for an ambush, or is their silence part of a broader strategy to intimidate humanity into submission? Regardless, humanity's fleet does not flinch. Grant and his officers continue to monitor the situation, gathering more data and trying to make sense of their opponent's every move. The alien fleet's design is unlike anything humanity has encountered. Their ships are sleek, angular, and bristling with unknown weaponry. The strange energy signatures of the ships suggest that their weapons are powered by something beyond what humanity's military can currently understand. The mere presence of these ships in the same space as humanity is an unsettling reminder of just how far humanity has to go before it can stand on equal footing with the galaxy's other power players. Yet, it is precisely this realization that drives humanity's resolve. The war is not just about survival, it's about proving that humanity belongs here, in this vast and hostile galaxy. The first salvo from the alien fleet is a shockwave of force, cutting through space like a blade. The energy weapon pulses brightly as it strikes one of the human ships, knocking it off course. The blast is powerful enough to cause significant damage, but not enough to incapacitate the ship entirely. This is the first real test of humanity's defenses. The alien weapons seem almost tailored to break through human shields with surgical precision. The crew on the affected ship scramble to stabilize their vessel, activating backup systems and rerouting power to essential systems in a desperate bid to keep the ship functional. The crew of the ship works with a sense of desperation, knowing that even a single mistake could mean the end. The response is immediate. Captain Grant gives the order to fire back, but not in the way the enemy might expect. Instead of engaging with standard weaponry, the human fleet begins to use an unconventional strategy, adapting their shields and weapon systems in real time to counter the alien energy weapons. Using what little information they had gathered from previous engagements, humanity begins to turn the tables. It's an adaptive, chaotic, and relentless strategy that takes full advantage of human ingenuity. As the battle rages on, the human fleet begins to gain some momentum. They've learned to harness the limited knowledge they have about the alien fleet and use it against them. The alien ship's weapons, while powerful, are not infallible. The human fleet exploits this weakness, finding the right moments to strike back with precision. It's a battle of attrition, one that humanity can't afford to lose. The tactical brilliance of the human fleet starts to shine through. Humanity's strategy is no longer just about brute force, it's about outsmarting the alien fleet. While the aliens rely on overwhelming firepower, humanity uses its adaptability and the element of surprise. The alien fleet is now facing a new enemy, one that doesn't fight by conventional rules. The human fleet is fluid, making unpredictable maneuvers, constantly shifting strategies based on new information gathered in real time. Amidst the chaos, the Darvan warlord, who has been a quiet observer, finally steps up again, offering his assistance. His species is known for their combat prowess, and while humanity's strategy is proving effective, the Darvan warrior knows that brute force may still play a critical role in the outcome. The Darvan warlord suggests combining their forces to mount a direct assault on one of the alien flagship vessels. He's confident that the Darvan fighting style, which relies on overwhelming strength and ferocity, could be the key to breaking through the alien fleet's defenses. Captain Grant, ever pragmatic, agrees to the plan, but with a modification. Humanity's fleet may not be able to match the Darvan in raw strength, but they can support the assault with precision and technical expertise. They agree to work together, combining the strengths of both species. This partnership, while strained at times due to the vastly different approaches to combat, becomes a turning point in the battle. Humanity and the Darvan, two species with different tactics and goals, find common ground in their shared desire to survive. The battle intensifies as the two fleets join forces and launch a combined offensive against the alien flagship. The human fleet's precision strikes weaken the flagship's shields just enough for the Darvan warships to close in and deliver a devastating blow. The alien flagship, which had seemed indestructible just moments ago, begins to crack under the pressure. However, even as the flagship begins to falter, the alien fleet's retaliatory strikes become more desperate and lethal. This part of the battle emphasizes the evolving dynamic between the two fleets. The human fleet, through its adaptability, continues to prove that it is capable of overcoming the odds. The Darvan, with their fierce and unyielding style, show that sheer might still has its place. Together, they make a formidable team, but the aliens are not giving up easily. As the alien flagship begins to show signs of collapse, the alien fleet takes a drastic step. It begins to focus all of its firepower on the human fleet, hoping to eliminate the biggest threat first. This final act of desperation triggers a rapid escalation in the battle, with both sides engaging in high-stakes combat that will decide the fate of the galaxy. The human fleet, battered but not broken, digs deep to stay in the fight. The crew aboard every ship is fighting not just for victory, but for survival. Captain Grant, in the heart of the conflict, remains calm as the battle rages around him. He understands the magnitude of the situation, and every decision he makes could tip the scales in one direction or another. But despite the overwhelming odds, he knows one thing: humanity never gives up. They've faced insurmountable odds before and always found a way to survive. This battle, too, will become another testament to humanity's resilience. As the battle unfolds in the vast reaches of space, the tension is palpable. Humanity's fleet, battered but resolute, continues to push forward against the alien onslaught. The alien forces, once sure of their superiority, now find themselves on the defensive. The unexpected unity between humanity and the Darvan, combined with humanity's innovative tactics and unwavering spirit, has begun to turn the tide of war in their favor. The alien fleet, once seemingly invincible, is now struggling to maintain control of the situation. The alien flagship, still reeling from the combined assault of humanity and the Darvan, begins to fracture. Energy pulses erupt from its hull as the internal systems start to fail. Yet, even as the flagship shudders and groans under the strain of its wounds, the alien fleet is not ready to admit defeat. Desperation begins to take hold, and their response is swift and deadly. With all their firepower concentrated on the human fleet, they launch a final, all-out assault aimed at wiping out humanity's remaining ships. Captain Elias Grant, watching the unfolding scene from the war room, is acutely aware that this is their moment. Either they finish the fight now, or the alien forces will crush them in one last blow. The alien fleet, despite its technological advancements, is now showing signs of weakness, of vulnerability. The strategy that Grant and his officers had meticulously crafted begins to pay off. Humanity's ability to adapt in the heat of battle, to learn from every engagement, has made them unpredictable and difficult to defeat. Grant's voice is steady as he gives the order: all ships, prepare for the final assault. No retreat. We end this now. The human fleet responds with an unwavering determination. Even though many of their ships are damaged, the remaining vessels still possess enough firepower to make the final push. Each ship is a symbol of humanity's resilience, carrying with it the memory of every fallen soldier and the will to survive. The crew members aboard each vessel know that this final push is their only chance at securing a future for their species. There's no turning back now. As the human ships surge forward, the Darvan warlord's fleet, too, joins in the final assault, bringing their raw power to bear against the alien enemy. The combined might of humanity and the Darvan is overwhelming, and the alien fleet begins to buckle under the relentless barrage. The alien flagship, once the pride of their fleet, is now a hulking wreck, its energy weapons sputtering out of control as it slowly drifts in space. But the aliens are not going down without a fight. Their remaining ships engage in a fierce, last-ditch effort to break through the human and Darvan lines. Their weapons fire with desperation, their tactics becoming erratic as they fight to protect their flagship. However, the human and Darvan fleets are too well coordinated now. Every move is calculated, every strike executed with precision. It's clear that the aliens' advantage in numbers and technology can't overcome humanity's tenacity. In the heat of battle, the alien flagship finally succumbs to the combined assault. Its massive structure is torn apart as a series of violent explosions rip through its hull. The remaining alien ships, witnessing the fall of their flagship, hesitate, the morale of the fleet begins to collapse, and for the first time in the battle, the alien forces falter, their once unified front begins to splinter, and the human fleet seizes the opportunity to press the attack. The remaining alien ships, now without a clear leader or strategy, attempt to retreat, but the human fleet pursues them relentlessly. One by one, the alien ships fall, either destroyed in the chaos of the battle or forced to flee into the depths of space. The fight is over. Humanity has won. As the last of the alien ships are either destroyed or scattered, a sense of profound relief washes over the human fleet. The war is finally over. The galaxy has been forever changed, and humanity has proven its place in the cosmos. Captain Grant stands at the command center, his face impassive as he surveys the aftermath of the battle. The human fleet is battered and bruised, but victorious. The Darvan warlord approaches him, his massive figure looming in the doorway. "You fought with honor," the warlord says, his voice low and respectful. "Perhaps we underestimated you." Grant nods, acknowledging the compliment, but his mind is already shifting to the next challenge. It's not about honor, it's about survival, and we're not done yet. As the remnants of the alien fleet disappear into the far reaches of space, humanity takes a moment to savor the victory. They've proven that no matter how great the odds, no matter how powerful the enemy, they will always fight for their survival, they will always adapt, and they will never, ever stop. With the defeat of the alien fleet, the immediate danger to humanity is over, but the consequences of the war are far-reaching. The galaxy, once a place where humanity was a mere speck in the vastness of space, now views humanity in a new light. The victory against such a formidable opponent proves that humans are a force to be reckoned with, and the fear and respect they command will forever alter their interactions with other species in the galaxy. The war has also solidified the bond between humanity and the Darvan. Despite their earlier differences, fought side by side with humans to achieve victory. This newfound alliance promises to bring about significant changes in the balance of power within the galaxy. While the Darvan are still wary of humanity's unpredictability, they now see humans as worthy allies rather than inferior beings. The alliance between the two species marks the beginning of a new era, one where humans no longer need to fight alone, and where they have a place at the table in the galactic community. But even as humanity celebrates its victory, there are those who understand that the war is not truly over. The galaxy is vast, and there are many species that have yet to witness humanity's strength. The victory against the alien fleet is just the beginning of humanity's journey to solidify its place in the stars. Captain Elias Grant, standing on the deck of his flagship, gazes out into the endless expanse of space. The stars twinkle brightly, but he knows that humanity's story is far from finished. The next chapter in their saga will be one of exploration, discovery, and continued survival. The galaxy may now know that humanity is deadly, but they will also know that humanity is something far more significant, a force that will rise to any challenge, face any adversary, and do whatever it takes to protect their future. "Let's see what the galaxy has to offer," Grant mutters to himself, turning away from the stars and heading back toward the heart of his ship.